Hello, welcome to Life Skills Education. In case you're meeting me for the first time, I'm Ellen Sadza of Young Africa. Today we are going to be looking at effective communication. Before we look into that, let's do our inspiration. Our inspiration is an African proverb which says, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go with others. You might ask yourself, what does that really mean? Remember the previous lesson we talked about thinking about ideas. We talked about communicating your ideas. That's the whole issue that we have. If you want to go fast, you go fast in your ideas. You can even see reaching the point that you want to see in your mind. That's going fast. You reach where you want to reach in your mind. But if you want to go far, you need to communicate your ideas. You need to make your ideas known so that you can build yourself and achieve it physically, not only in your mind. That's going far with others. Let's now move on to what are the learning objectives of today. Today we are going to be learning about effective communication. In this session, we are going to be looking at what you need to do for you to be an effective communicator. We are also going to be learning that you need to understand that good collaboration depends on effective communication. We are also going to be looking at the things that you need to master for you to be able to put your message across to the person that you want your message to reach. So for now, we want to have a reflection. What is it that is in communication? What is it that you understand by communication? Is communication really important? We need to look at that. When we talk about communication, it's about getting your message across through a channel to the receiver of the message. And the message will get back to you as feedback. But when you are an effective communicator, it's not all about talking your message. It's not all about sending your information to the recipient. It's about you being able to make sure that the recipient of your message has understood your message, has understood the information that you need to put across. That is what we talk about when we say effective communication. So you need to master the skills of effective communication. So I want you to grab a notebook. I want you to grab a pen and do an activity. I want you to write 2 problems that are caused by misunderstandings and bad communication. What do you think? I'll give you some time to write. Begin to write. Welcome back. I want to know what are the problems that you have identified that are caused as a result of bad communication and misunderstandings. You may have identified quarrels, you may have identified fightings, or you may have identified other problems that are bigger than these. Feel free to share with us from any platform that you are going to receive this lesson from. Now we are going to be looking at communication processes. What is really the communication process? What does it involve? When we talk about the communication process, we are looking at the sender of the message. We are looking at the channel that the message goes through. We are looking at the receiver of the message. We are also going to be looking at feedback. So we are going to be looking at this one by one so that we see what is expected at each level. We will start by the sender. When we talk about the sender, we are talking about the one who carries the message. The one who has got a message that has got to be put across to another people, that has got to be put across to a group or even an individual. When you are a sender, you need to establish yourself. Where are you standing? You need to see your emotions. You need to understand how you are feeling for you to be an effective communicator. You need to establish credibility. What do we mean? You need to know the subject that you want to communicate. If you fail to have confidence in your subject that you want to communicate, the people that you need to communicate your message to will not be confident enough to listen to you because you'll be looking all confused. So first of all, master your subject that you want to communicate to the receiver of the message. We are now looking at the message itself, the message that you are going to be sending. When we talk about the message, What is it that you need to do with your message? Consider the message itself. What is it, the kind of message that you want to send? Is it verbal, non-verbal? Is it written? What kind of a message do you want to put across? Are you going to send it through an email? Is it going to be a telephone? You need to know all that. When you are going to do a communication that is verbal, you need to understand it is affected by the sender's tone. The tone of your voice should make the message that you want to send. Do not do anything that does not link with what you want to send. Maybe you want to send a message that is full of joy. You can never send a message like that with a sad tone. You cannot do that. That will not work. If your message is going to be a yes message, you need to do everything that corresponds with that message. Then also you need to master the culture in which you are going to put your message to. Be it organizational culture, family culture, all these will affect your messages. You need also to understand everything that your message carries so that it will be well understood. When you understand your message, you now need to move to the channel. What kind of a channel are you going to use to send your message? This is very important because when you, like what you have said earlier on the message, it is affected by the organizational culture or family culture. There are protocols that are used in organizations. Even some families have got protocols that they use for their messages to be heard. You need to consider these. These are the channels that you are going to be talking about. Then when you understand your channel, you now move to the receiver. When you talk about the receiver, it is important for you to master the ideas, the feelings, the beliefs of the receiver. These will affect how they understand your message. Their belief system will have an impact in their understanding of the message that you want to put across. Always pay attention to these. When you are communicating with your receiver, maybe it's face to face, you need to see their body response, their facial response. You need to master this for you to be an effective communicator. This will even tell you what the recipient of your message is thinking about what you are talking about. Then when you are done with your recipient, you now move on to feedback. When we talk about feedback, we are talking about getting an understanding of how your message was understood. This is when you get to know, did they really understand what you wanted to put across, or they have misinterpreted everything that you wanted them to understand? Don't be a person who just talk about what their ideas are all about. Don't just talk about information that you need to put across. Wait for feedback. This is when you get to know if you are an effective communicator. So when you are done with that, we now want to know, is it important to have some communication skills? Communication skills are important because through these processes from the sender up until you get the feedback, there are barriers to communication, and these barriers can pop up at any stage. You need to know how to deal with them. Barriers that are involved at the level of the message. These barriers can be if your message is too lengthy, if your message is disorganized. This can affect how recipient is going to receive your message. Master that. When you want to be an effective communicator, make your message as short as possible, but getting to the point that you want it to get. Then you also need to know your channel. Your protocols should also be short. Do not have longer protocols, because at each level, people understand differently, to the point that if it reaches the right recipient that you want them to reach, it will have been broken down. Then when you move on to the receiver of your message, we have talked about this. Understand the mood that they are in. Understand the emotion that they are in. Their responsibility, where they stand. And with that, you will be an effective communicator. Thank you so much for listening to this. I want to know, what have you learned from this session? And what is it that you need to do for you to be able to improve your life and be an effective communicator? Which areas of your life do you need to improve? And with that, we have come to the end of our lesson. But before we go, we need to do the affirmation. Like always, it's a way to condition our mind. I want you to repeat these words after me. My clear communication has the effect I desire. Maybe you can take that again. My clear communication has the effect I desire. Always know that your clear communication will always have the effect that you desire. Thank you so much. See you soon.